Keir Starmer's getting a bit lonely because, he's being told what to do and what to say from the WEF and a country we're not allowed to criticise. And in between those times, he's sort of thinking, what can I do? So he walked into a pet shop, you see, and he decides to get a pet. And he explains to the pet shop owner, the situation. And the pet shop owner says, well, why don't you buy a budgie? He says, well, will it kill something? He said, no, budgies don't do that. He said, oh, that's a shame. He said, because, being a psychopath, I like seeing death and destruction and people suffering. Oh, no, he said, but it will talk. Oh, that's all right then. Saves me talking. So anyway, what happens is he gets the budgie, takes it home, and a couple of days later he goes back to the pet shop and he says, oh, he said, that budgie you got me, it doesn't talk. So the pet shop owner says, well, they normally talk when they're dinging their bell. Oh, needs a bell, does it? Oh, okay, I'll buy a bell. See, so he buys a bell. A couple of days later he comes back. He says, the pet shop owner says, still doesn't talk. So he says, well, when you're there in their bird bath, fluttering away, oh, needs a birth bath, does it? Okay. So he gets a bird bath for it. A couple of days later he comes back and he says, still hasn't talked. He said, but when it's playing with its wobbly toy at the bottom of the cage, oh, needs a wobbly toy, does it? Oh, okay. So he gets a wobbly toy. Then a couple of days later he comes back again and he said, budgie's dead. He said, I'm sorry to hear that. He said, yeah, but it did speak before it died. He said, oh, really? He said, what did it say? He says, doesn't that pet shop sell any bloody food? That's an old one. Good evening.
Voice to a T. Hey.
And welcome to another exciting show. And we got Survival Steve. Hello, Stevie.
Oh, hello, YouTube.
Now you're probably wondering what happened to last night's show after the show. Well, I already told Steve what happened, you see. The show went absolutely well. I was on with Patrick, from America, and we were chatting away, went the full 2 hours. So I said, good night. And I did the closing thing, pressed the button, and that to close the show wouldn't work. It was still live. So I thought, what the bloody hell? So I fiddled and farted around for a while, still live. So I thought, so I rebooted the computer, still live. So then I went on to another browser, still live. And I was getting a bit desperate. And I thought, well, do I sort of shut down the computer and just hope it just run on and on and on and on until it... I thought, I can't do that. So I fiddled around a bit more. And there's a button, end show. So press that. It's disappeared. The bloody show's gone. Don't ask.
It was a cracker as well.
It's a bloody good show as well. And the thing is Patrick was coming out from because he's related to Lindbergh. The bloke who flew over.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, he's distantly related. And he's very interesting what he was saying, some of the things about what's going on. But what we were saying wasn't too controversial. It was okay. It was nothing. He mentioned the words of a group of people that we shouldn't criticise, but he wasn't sort of that bad what he said. And no, it was bloody weird. And so I'm sorry, folks, it's lost forever unless someone's got a copy of it. So I don't know. But it's really weird.
It's lost in the ether somewhere.
Sorry?
It's lost in the ether somewhere. That's quite strange.
Yeah. Perhaps, it's only Captain Kirk and the Star Trek Enterprise, was it the Starship Enterprise, will be able to find that. It's sort of floating around in space somewhere.
Speaking of Captain Kirk, apparently Captain Kirk in the TV show, I'm pretty sure his character was born or died on March the 22nd. So there is a headstone for Captain Kirk. Yes. It's something like that. He's either born or he died on March the 22nd, of all the dates to pick, the satanic season of sacrifice.
How weird. Because you know that Star Trek was basically an agenda type show. It was left wing. And it was, and the actors weren't picked for their acting ability, it's for their political views. They had to be left wing.
Wow.
Yeah, and when they were interviewed, you know, that they wanted a left wing sort of actors. This idea of all these sort of Earth people all going around the galaxy being nice, and you know, a bit like the Communist Manifesto, really. And that's true. That's what it's about. But William Shatner, who acted the part of Captain Kirk, he started a ladies' knickers business, didn't he? But he didn't do too well because it's called Shatner Panties. Sorry.
Very good.
But, anyway, let's hope Keir Starmer doesn't hear that joke at the beginning of the show, because I think you lawyers will be on to me, you know, and the Budgie Appreciation Society will be on to me as well. But in chat tonight, we got a lot in chat tonight. We've got right, and if anybody in chat knows where my show went last night, please tell me, because I don't know. Poor old Patrick. You know, I was really upset because Patrick did a really, you know, he was a really interesting show with him. So the first on tonight is Paul Green. Hope all are well. Looking forward to the show. Yeah, wow. And he was on at bloody Nora 4:19 this afternoon. I mean, that's more than brownie points. Bloody hell! I think that's
that's dedication.
It is. What do the Boy Scouts get? They don't get brownie points. Markers or something. I don't believe. No. Anyway, he get the wall for that. You know, I know a raspberry to a politician that you dislike of your choice. A free raspberry. I got to a politician you dislike. That's it. Yep. So any politician you dislike, you know, Paul, you can dedicate a raspberry to him or her. You never know. Suko, hello, not long now. That's it. She came on at 7:54. Yeah, I think compared with 4:19 this afternoon. And of course, I gave a word of warning, of course, that there was a Keir Starmer gag coming up, because you know you've always got to warn people beforehand. Suka, the countdown is going very slow for the show to start. Is it really? Oh dear. Well, we've started anyway. Hereditous Getfoot says, here we go. Now a sociology was this lecture with a bit of psychology bit and neurologic and a bit of psychology. Yes. Loads of fun, yes. Got Mark Anthony. Hello, Mark. Oh, by the way, sorry for the people that commented in the show last night. I can't answer your comments because the show's disappeared on the This is Rumble. Evening all. Look forward to the show. Louise Wilcox. Evening all. Lovely day for ducks. Yes. Stig. Good morning from New Zealand. And
Stig.
Stig. Hello, mate. How's, by the way, you know that X-Prime monster you had, that one that looked like a horse? Have they confirmed that it's a male yet, or does it still acting as a female, whatever it was? But there we got evening folks from Aunt Sally, and what's this there? Eric, oh bless you! I have a copy of the show. I can send it over to you if you want. Oh yes, please, Bart. He's come and saved the day. Blimey. You can have 2 free raspberries to an MP that you dislike. 2 MPs you dislike. How's that? So there we go. Thanks, Mark. That's much appreciated. It really is.
That's handy.
I was a bit gutted because I was sitting there for about 3/4 of an hour trying to turn the bloody thing off. It was just live all the time. Weird, you know. Sorry, Fat Finger. Who's Fat Finger? Are you talking about Prince Charles? Anyway, there's some interesting dates coming up, and one that I can't help but notice is the one in October with all the ghosts and your ghoulies. Sorry, ghouls, or whatever they call them, you know. And well, I mean, It happens to be, and I'll check it. I'll double check. Is it on the Friday the 13th? Isn't it this year?
Well, there's rumor about that. It's on the internet. Apparently, it's gone a bit viral as well. That date that you're suggesting. However, I did do a check with Snopes, and they've said there's nothing to be concerned about. So stand down, everybody. Snopes has got this.
But hang on a minute. When is Halloween? It's
Halloween is the 31st of October.
right, 31st of October. Let's have a quick look. If you don't want to do, I'll just turn my pages of my diary over. It's a Thursday. Yeah, look. Thursday. It's not a Friday. It's Friday is the 1st. Oh.
Yeah. So the 1st of November is what is kind of the build up for Halloween. Halloween marks the eve of Samhain or Samhain, depending on which neck of the woods you're from. That's the Celtic name, or you could say the Celtic or pagan name for a pagan festival of Samhain, which was the All Saints' Day. Halloween,
Really?
of course, yeah. So what that date marks essentially is the birth of winter, the death of summer. Hence the fact it's all morbid and dark, because it is the latter half of the year, the dark half of the year, and you could say it's the astrological time for the birth of the dark half of the year. That's what Halloween's all about, essentially. It's all astrology. All of these dates have some connection with astrology, the astrological cycle of events. Halloween, there is talk that Halloween is going to occur on Friday the 13th. I mean, that's a fallacy in itself. It's the 31st. However, an inversion of 31 is 13. And of course, the satanic folk in this world do like to invert things. Sometimes it's just as a form of mockery, but 31 and 13.
Yeah, this is what Louise is doing.
What's Louise saying?
Yeah, everything is reversed.
Everything in reverse.
Their ritual doesn't change dates. Not that I care for any of their bullshit.
Hey, it's William. Hello, mate.
Hello, good to see Steve. Man knows his stuff. You certainly do. Yes,
that's very kind. Thanks, mate.
And that's interesting. 31st, 13th. But when I was a kid, Halloween was a day like any other day. It's just Halloween. So what? And you might get someone reading a ghost story on the radio, and that was it. Really, there's nothing in the shops about it. It's just Halloween. It was just a sort of a day. And it's only the Americans that have made it, publicized it, and hyped it all up. And that was, the last 20, 30 years? I mean,
it's definitely. I recall from myself being a kid that it's obviously got massively hyped up. Certainly in the last 20 years, I would say, compared to when I was a young boy. In fact, when I was a kid, I don't really even recall anybody celebrating it, to be honest. There wasn't that much song and dance.
Because I remember...
What I was going to say, Eric, is you can see that the world is kind of becoming more and more, what you say, more and more connected with the dark occult agenda that's taken shape in the world today. In fact, this was written about many years ago by an occult author by the name of Alice Bailey, and I would recommend folk to go and look into some of her work. She wrote a book about which was called The Externalization of the Hierarchy, and this was I'm sure it was about 8 years ago, and she remarked that essentially all of this dark stuff would be coming more to light. It would be part of mainstream society, and people would be that indoctrinated into that satanic agenda that they wouldn't even give it a second thought. Now, Halloween, as much as most people in the world today, the Western world, would just see that as a complete innocent costume party for which kids lark about and have fun. And I'm not saying they don't, but what it is actually is the Satanists' New Year's Day. It's probably one of the most significant days in the satanic calendar. And of course, even though that we might just be bobbing for apples and making, lanterns, jack-o'-lanterns out of pumpkins and what have you, we are actually indoctrinating ourselves and our young into severely horrific sort of ceremonies, which will, in some parts of the world and by some people, be having a lot more sinister party games, that's for sure.
Well, you're right, because something I always remember, it was on BBC News. It was on the this is when I had a television. I was quite young at the time, and there was an American Air Force base. I think it was in Oxford, and the children from the Air Force base went round this local village, doing trick and treat, and they didn't realise that the British didn't understand what it was. So the police were called in to get chased away by the people. Weren't too pleased about it. They were not pleased at all about it. And that must have been the 1990s, early 90s. So it's only been in since about the early 1990s, I think, that this trick and treat thing. Because I don't take any part of it. I mean, my attitude is I'll put a polite sign on my door, no trick and treat, thank you. Sort of, because I don't like. I mean, I don't mind penny for the guy, although that's a bit iffy. But things like that. I just think it's just Americanism that's come over, and it's not about part of our culture. It's not us. That's the thing.
It's been part. You could say it's been part of our culture since the world began. Essentially, it's just. Modern Halloween it might be slightly different in the way it's kind of celebrated, I guess. And again, it depends on which group of people you're associated with. The average kid's just going to have fun and lark about and have party food and what have you, and dress up in costumes. Absolutely nothing sinister about that whatsoever. But all of these, you could say, rituals, ceremonies, and even the essence between the notable difference between light and dark all occur on the same dates. So pagans will say Halloween or Samhain is a pagan date. It's just an astrological line between the time of darkness and the time the summer ends. That's all it is. Of course, this is kind of marked by different groups of people for different connotations. Light and dark happen in the world simultaneously, and it depends on what side of the fence you're sitting on as to how to kind of think about what Halloween means for you.
That's interesting. It's a nice way of actually looking at it, because I remember you saying, was it on a previous show, that the lockdown was announced on Halloween, wasn't it? For the Christmas, which is very strange. And DJ Flipped has just said, I've got the same recollections about Halloween as Steve. In the 70s, we were aware of it, but that was it. You could buy the odd spooky toy, and you could at one time buy Ouija boards in toy shops. And I know that John Hamer had a nasty experience with a Ouija board when he was a kid. But Louise has come in and said 1973 Exorcist, 1978 Halloween came out. The more we go on the more we go on, the worse the films get. This year, the film Substance is allegedly more graphic than any other before. People are walking out of it. That's interesting. Now we got here and a turnip lantern. Do we have turnip lantern? Can't remember.
Do you know what that marks, by the way, Eric? The turnip. I mean, we quite often use turnips in the UK, and I must admit, if you've ever tried carving a turnip, you almost need you need dynamite to carve a turnip. But pumpkins are far easier. But the reason pumpkins are used, and you'll notice that they're illuminated from the inside. And I mean, I don't think most people are aware of this, but there is a particular reason for it. And again, I'm not going to get too dark and or too much into the guts about this, but the turnip or the pumpkin represents a head, which was often severed in order to mark that ritual. And of course, the head is where the ancients believed was the seat of the soul. So the soul resides in the head, and if you were to cut the head off a person, well, that's severing the connection of the soul as well into the afterlife.
Really, I didn't
But
know
one
that.
of the reasons it's illuminated is because that's where you're illuminated from. The head, the light.
Pineal. Yeah.
Yeah, the pineal gland, the illumination process takes part in the head, and that's what that's why you have a pumpkin lit up from the inside. It marks illumination.
Wow. That's interesting, because I know that I'm certainly a bit sort of morbid here, but I know that when they used to use the guillotine, the head would remain conscious for quite some time. When I say quite some time, about 30 seconds to 45 seconds afterwards. And I think it was the king, or what was the one that Cromwell executed? A king, was it? Wasn't can't remember his name. Was it Charles? No,
I'm not sure.
No, anyway, the one that he because they pick the head up and they sort of show it to the crowd, and people were shouting out comments, and the head actually answered.
Oh my Lord!
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a bit like, when you cut a head off. Well, I haven't done it, but if you cut a head off a chicken, the body just runs around the courtyard. But the DJ Flick has said, "Is Chris related to Victor Belgium? Yeah, I'm a miserable sod. I bet the trick or treat kids love him. Only kidding. I've got no time for that door knocking." Yeah, my neighbour really gets into it. I mean, he's in his 80s, my neighbour, and he gets a little table and he's got all the sweeties all there, and he loves it.
Yeah. I mean, it's really taken off, the last few years. I mean, kids can have come to my door. I've always got sweets for the kids if they come around. I mean, I don't celebrate Halloween whatsoever, but I do understand it, and I mean, probably best for another time, perhaps. But I don't celebrate Christmas either, because I understand the what's behind all of that. And I mean, just as a quick one here, if I was to say to you, and I imagine a lot of your listeners know this, about gematria, which is like an alphanumeric code. If you plug in the word Santa Claus in English gematria, you get the number 666.
And also an anagram is Satan.
Satan Lucas.
Yeah.
Or Lucas was an original name for Lucius or Lucifer.
Wow. Sorry, I took the words out. I shouldn't have done that.
No.
Sorry about that.
But I talk quite in depth about Christmas, and because there's a lot more to it than that. If people knew that, in fact, I've probably spoiled a lot of people's Christmases by giving presentations regarding that.
Because really, that's interesting, because in Russia it's on a different date, isn't it? It's in January, Christmas.
Is it? Right.
Later, yeah.
Okay.
And it's because I always thought it should be the 21st. But by the way, the bloke who had his head cut off, it might be James I.
Okay.
So I'm not going to lose my head about it,
Louise also mentioned a year there, 1973, when The Exorcist came out. And I'm not putting a connection here, but if you 666 years prior to 1973 was the year 1307, and that was the year that Jacques de Molay, the Grand Master of the Knights Templar, was executed. on Friday the 13th, and I think this is one of the reasons why Friday the 13th gets such a bad press, I guess, in sort of mainstream. What's the word? Mainstream society. They talk about Friday the 13th as being unlucky. Friday the 13th happens I think on average every 220 odd days every year. So every year you'll get Friday the 13th. But that's one of the sort of reasons why Friday the 13th gets such bad press, I guess, and it's often because of the death of Jack de Molay. Jack de Molay, by the way, was the 23rd Grand Master of the Knights Templar. And here's just a quick one, another number for you, 23. 23 is the 23rd letter of the alphabet is W. 2 times 3 is 6. So if you had WWW, 2 times 3, 2 times 3, 2 times 3, you get a very particular number, 666. But you'll notice as well that the letter W, because everything's connected, symbolically, letters are all symbolic as well, not just symbolic of letters, but the certain symbolic geometry behind them. So W has got 2 apexes or lower apexes and 3 upper apexes. Again, it's the 23rd letter, and it's also got 2 and 3 apexes. 2 times 3, like I said, is 6. But if you transliterate that letter, the letter W, into Hebrew, the original, the language of God, essentially, we get the letter which also corresponds. V and W in Hebrew are the same letter. It's Vav. Vav, of course, has a numeric value in the Hebrew alphabet. That number happens to be 6. So WWW is 666 yet again.
Wow. But that's fascinating. And Louise Wilcox says, I never allowed my children to go begging at Halloween or any other time of the year. And Stephen Truth Seeker says, hello, Kiwi. And Louis said, Satan's claws. Satan's claws.
Yeah, Satan's claws, yeah.
And you got a fan here. Stephen Truth Seeker. Survival Steve is a good lad. Yes. Checks in the post. There you go.
Thanks, mate.
That's great. And then we've got here, what we got? We got, I don't celebrate Christmas anymore either. I do acknowledge it because I don't want to alienate myself from friends and family, but I'm bar humbug now. Always have been. I would believe.
Yeah, it's a tough one because everybody loves Christmas, especially kids.
Not me.
But I must admit, I don't alienate myself, but everybody else has. I've been alienated.
But it's got, yeah, I think I've seen these Christmas presents extremely enlightening. She says, DJ Flit, is it anywhere online? What? What's anywhere online? I don't know. Something, can't remember.
I've got a very small handful of presentations online, and they're all quite old and they're not the greatest. But on BitChute, I've got a channel. It's called Six Blade. My channel on BitChute. Do you know what? I could maybe put something in the chat. I'll type something in. So,
okay, because plug it. Give yourself a bit of promotion. Why not? And we got here reconciliation. Hello, mate. The Demolition Society is a Freemason group for young men. Interesting.
Yeah, Jack de Molay. Yes. Of course, Knights Templar. It's all for Freemasonic.
Yes, it's the brigade, isn't it?
Yeah.
That speaking severed head will give me nightmares tonight. I had heard of that. it must mean something very, very profound. Yes, they used to mop the blood up as well because it's supposed to be, had magic qualities from royalty. What a nice heritage we have. How nice. Mummy, what are we doing next Sunday? Oh, we're going to go see a beheading, dear. Oh, that's nice. A bloke. Oh, I'll never forget it. I worked with a fellow that worked in Saudi Arabia, and he worked the entire office up. And he said, do you know they still do beheadings out there? I said, really? He said, yeah. He
Right.
said, we used to take the kids along on a Sunday. It's good it was, We used to go having ice cream and Christmas, sitting there thinking, you sick bastard. And he was just making it up. He was winding us up. Eventually, and we all sitting there believing him. So, oh, yeah, he said, good it is. He said, especially they drag the blokes 4 sods on. Wallop, there it is, Everyone cheers.
Dear.
But in reality, Westerners don't go anywhere near those beheadings. They keep away. I celebrate Christmas December the 25th. Yes, here we go. What's the subject tonight? Stephen Truthseeker. Well, you can count on it. It's numerology, isn't it? And it's and dates and things like that. That's what Steve's here. And also surviving what might be coming along as well. Now we got here. Reconciliation says it is the 21st because the light is returning. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the light. That's right, because he died. What is it now? He died on the 21st, and then he resurrected on the 25th. Have I got that right? So slap wrist if I got that wrong. I think that's correct.
I'm guessing, Mr. Is it Mr. or Mrs. Reconciliation?
No, it's Mr. I think it's Patrick. Is it Patrick? Oh, mate.
Oh, is that Patrick, is it?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, and hello, Patrick. I enjoyed listening to your show yesterday before it kind of got lost in the ether.
I'd lost it.
I saw 3/4 of it before I went to bed, but it was working okay yesterday. But I missed the end. So yeah, Christmas. I mean, if you want, I'll come on again nearer the time and spoil everybody's Christmas by telling people what everything stands for. If you're interested with that, I have been doing. I do occult presentations. I'm pretty sure you probably knew that, but I do a fairly significant one usually around the Christmas period, where I talk about that entire subject, what it all stands for, what all the dates are about, and how it connects with biblical allegory as well. It's all quite interesting.
Yeah, I mean it's fascinating. But they reckon that Jesus was probably born out again. Patrick might, I put it was around September. It must have been around about September. So, I don't know.
I've heard all sorts of dates and stuff.
Aunt Sally, me too. Me too. But I do buy the grandchildren presents, but will not lie to them about a man in a red suit having given them the toys. Yes, that sounds a bit pervy. That is some bloke coming down the chimney. I mean, doesn't he know there's such thing as a doorbell? Why doesn't he knock at the door like everybody else? Why does he come down the chimney?
Well, there's meaning behind everything. I mean, he comes down the chimney just as Satan descends down to a fiery pit in hell. And what colour's Satan often depicted as? Red.
Oh, red.
And
yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Lots of depictions of Satan as red. And what happens to the children if they've been naughty? Well, Satan gives them a hard time, doesn't he? Similar to Santa Claus. So all these traditions and allegories are kind of related as well.
Now,
Steve.
Yeah.
No, go on.
DJ Flitzer said, I think it might have been on Maureen's channel, Truth Seekers Northeast. nonsense.
Yeah, I've give. I know Maureen. I've
Hello,
give Truth
Maureen.
Seekers North. Hello. Yes, I haven't seen Maureen for a long time, but I've give quite a few presentations with Truth Seekers Northeast. Great group. If anybody's in the Northeast, by the way. So
they're not far from you, are they? Because that's sort of Newcastle way, isn't it?
Yeah, I live in the Northeast.
Yeah, it's all happening in the Northeast, isn't it? You know, except for the Southeast where I am.
It's all happening overhead in the Northeast. There's lots of long white stripes in the sky.
Oh yes. Mind you, they can't see long white stripes in the sky today because it was hissing.
No.
I didn't say pissing because that's rude. So it's hissing with rain. You see. So I'm very polite there. So I won't get banned by YouTube. You see, for not saying pissing.
Yeah.
Has Steve heard of the rule of the 72 for determining how compound interest is calculated?
No, but it's interesting they use that number for that. I'm guessing that's a mathematical thing. I'm not sure what compound interest is at all, but it's interesting that the number 72 crops up. Of course, that's got lots of meaning, particularly in the Islamic cultures.
Did you ever see The Meaning of Life? What is it? That program? What was it now? The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The program to computer to find out the meaning of life, and I think it was 41, wasn't it? And I said, "Well, is that it?" I said, "Yeah, it's 41."
You were close, but it was actually 42. And
42. Oh,
yeah.
Sorry. 42. Well, they've added one since.
Yeah, it's quite significant that because the number of. Oh, are you still there?
I'm still there. Yeah. Hello. You've frozen.
My screens went a little bit funny, but if you're still there,
I'm still
sorry. Did that go funny for you?
Yeah, you're sort of.
All right.
You looked a bit like. Do you know something? That was a dead ringer for Keir Starmer. That sort of.
Joking. Oh no.
It's sort of like, because with Keir Starmer, you're stationary, but I could hear your voice, and it's a bit like him. He's like that, and his voice I think comes out of his bum, doesn't it?
Yeah. I'll take that as a compliment. Because 42, and the computer and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was called Deep Thought. So give this some deep thought. There's two very specific numbers that relate to the spiritual essence of man. One of those numbers is 6. 6 happens to be the number of ignorance. And one of the reasons for that, again, because everything is connected, the God, you may recall, built the world in 6 days. So the material world was built in 6 days, and he rested on the 7th day to admire his handiwork, no doubt. But 7, of course, is the number of enlightened man. 6 and 7, you might recall the phrase, if somebody's a bit bewildered or muddled up, that they use the phrase, I'm all 6s and 7s. Yeah. So I don't know whether I'm ignorant or enlightened, in other words, 6 and 7. So let's do some maths here. 6 times 7 is 42.
And the meaning of life is 42.
Exactly. Meaning of life, 42.
And I said, well, is that it? And they said, yes.
There's more to it than that. 42. Why did he pick 42? Well, hey, it might have just been a lucky guess, but maybe he was an adept of esoteric alchemy. You might recall the word alchemy derives from the word alkeme, and alkeme was the ancient name of Egypt back in the day. Alchemy. So an alchemy, or rather in ancient Egypt, I should say, there is, you could say it's almost like a spiritual, I'm not going to say religion, but I'm going to say there was a spiritual practice known as the Kemetism. So the ancient Kemites from Alkeme believed that there was 42 laws from somebody called Mat, the 42 laws of Mat. were basically the laws of man to lead a spiritual life on the material world. So I wonder if there was a connection there with that number 42. That number, by the way, that got transposed into a more simplistic decimalization, you could say. It turned into 10, as in Aten. Aten, of course, was one of the gods of ancient Egypt. That's why you've got 10 Downing Street. If you were to measure a raindrop, I believe a raindrop is 10 millimeters in diameter. Again, it's an important. So one droplet of water essentially gives a standard measurement, which I believe is why we've got decimalization and the number 10, for example.
Well, it is a lot easier. But
yeah, it's a lot easier. So now we've got 10 commandments, essentially, the laws of God.
That's it. There's not 11 or 7.5. But I think it was Douglas Adams, wasn't it, that wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy? Because he said the definition of flight is to throw yourself to the ground and miss. That's quite a good one, isn't it?
That's a good one.
Yeah, because is he dead now? I think, is he still alive, Douglas Adams? I don't know. I think he croaked it, didn't he? I don't know. But we got here. Stephen Truthseeker says the 12th is an important number in my life.
Well, it's a very powerful number in numerology. I mean, there's lots of things behind the number 12, but I'd be interested to know why it's important in his life. You'll have to put a comment in.
That's interesting.
Of course, everyone knows about the 12 disciples, and the 12 disciples, the 12 discs, relate to the 12 systems of the human body, which require 12 pairs of nerves running from the 2 hemispheres of the brain. And again, all of this is encoded in allegory in the Bible and other forms of scripture. 12. One of the reasons 13 is important is because there was 12 disciples plus Christ, which was 13. And of course, 6 plus 7, remember those numbers? 6 plus 7 is 13.
That's right. Because I know that if you go to a hotel, I think in Las Vegas, there's no room 13, there's no floor 13. Because it just goes up and it skips a number as of 13. And we got here... the funny thing, this is Stephen Truthseeker. Funny thing is, Christian people have the whole God thing wrong in their heads. A man in the sky. Interesting.
Oh, we both went black screen. You done a Keir Starmer for a minute there.
Did I do a Keir Starmer as well?
Yeah, you done a Keir Starmer.
Actually, I don't know about you, but I think that Keir Starmer always looks as if someone's just shoved a cucumber up his arse. You sort of got that. You know, he actually sounds like, you remember the Daleks? I am a Dalek. I am Keir Starmer. Exterminate old people. You know.
Well, I hope they put the fat end up first.
They tell kids not to accept sweets from strangers except on Halloween. That's right.
Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah.
Yes. Now we got reconciliation. Have you heard the Albert King Blues song, Santa Claus Needs Some Loving? No, I can't say I have. Have you heard of it? No, Albert King.
No, I can't say I recall it. I might listen out for it though.
That's interesting. Now, Aunt Sally says, I can't find Truth Seekers Northeast on YouTube. Probably blocked by the algorithm. Can you be more specific about the title of their channel, or is that it, DJ? Or yourself?
I haven't seen them on YouTube for a while. Truth Seekers Northeast. Well, what will it come? It might come under Mew Waters.
That
Mew
might
Waters.
be
MEW Waters. They're on Rumble as well. you should find them on Rumble.
Oh yes. Oh, and they're on. I know they're on Facebook. Oh, and they're definitely on Telegram. They're on Telegram because
Yeah,
under Mew
I'll see if I can
Walton.
put some links in. They're definitely on. Truth Seekers were definitely on Rumble. They've maybe been blocked off YouTube, perhaps. Was you know how YouTube is at the moment, but
Oh, yeah.
they do. I think they do like presentations every month or so, and like every 2 weeks they've got meetings as well. Some real nice people in Truth Seekers Northeast. If anyone's from the Northeast, I encourage
You're
you
very friendly.
to attend. Say again?
Because you're very friendly up there. That's the big thing that you notice in the Southeast. People, once you get to know them, they're friendly. But, you know, for example, you'd be walking in the country and you walk straight past someone and they don't say hello or anything like that. And it's sort of, and when you get out of that sort of
Strange
home counties, it's a bit weird when someone says, "Oh, hello," and you know, people look as if they've just been touched up if you say hello to them. You know? but but no, the thing is that I think it might be something to do with population, or it might be Northeast has always had it tough, and people that's had it tough, it's sort of indoctrinated into them. It's like Ireland. Now they suffered well, they say it's the potato famine, but it was more than that. It was food famine, and it wasn't necessarily to do with blight, but that's for another time. But because they had such suffering and such poverty, there's more nurses from Ireland than almost anywhere else. It used to be, because they got that sort of caring sort of gene or whatever you want to call it, you know. And but you know, places like Jarrow are just down the road, I believe, from you as well, and that's always been a high unemployment spot. And you know, it's not easy. Although it's not easy down south, it's not easy anywhere in this country anymore, is it really? But now we got here. Where are we? We got here. Ghost in the Machine. Well, when we keep going, do the Keir Starmer team, you know? But because it's a bit funny, he moved out of his house, isn't it? And he moved in with some bloke because of his child's education or something.
Perhaps.
Perhaps.
Do you know what? I know this is probably old news now, but you know, you mentioned the word sausages instead of hostages, and I'll be quite honest. I never actually saw that clip, but people have told me that seemed to be he seemed to be genuine. But I'm you know, I don't want to convince myself otherwise, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was going through what's known as a humiliation ritual, which is quite often what celebrities have to do in order to show their dedication to their overlords. They have to basically, they've got to go through certain public humiliation rituals to prove their allegiance to usually to the handlers or to their overlords or to their, you know, to their satanic clubs that they're all in. So they've got to publicly shame themselves, and I wonder if that was an attempt at publicly humiliating himself. Just putting it out there. I'm not sure.
But were they pork sausages or turkey sausages or chicken sausages? But you see, the thing is, or vegetarian sausages for that matter. But the thing is, probably he's thinking of Prince Charles fingers, the sausages.
Yeah, sausage fingers. Yeah.
But I mean, when it comes to humiliation, I think Clinton was I did not sleep with that woman. You know, he was really publicly humiliated. But they still sort of bounce along, sort of hello, and all sort of jolly, you know, as if nothing's happened. They don't seem to suffer from embarrassment. There's no real embarrassment with them. Anything. It's something about that mentality. It's weird. It really is. But, Louise Wilcox says, Stephen Truth Seeker, it is far easier for many to believe one good God against one fallen angel than it is to believe psycho occultists who have been controlling our world for thousands of years. Interesting. And we got here, these numerical clues are more complicated than the clues to the prize on 321 with Ted Rogers and Dusty Ben. Yes, I remember that show.
He's got a good point there.
Yeah.
I mean, the numerical stuff, it's hard to express a true understanding of how this all ties in unless you've kind of got a good grasp of occultism in general. There's an awful lot to take in to get to grips with how these numbers and dates actually tie into anything of significance. And again, I don't know how far down is the understanding route South Coast Rich has gone. But to anybody without good firm understanding of the occult, of pagan dates, of Satanism, of religion, of alchemy, without understanding of these aspects, none of this would make sense at all. But really, when you do get to understand it, you realize that what's known as consensus reality, i.e. the appreciation or understanding that the majority of people have got about the world, is actually incorrect. So I've been down there. I was in consensus reality most of my life. Then I came to an awful lot of understanding about what I just tend to just generalize by calling the occult. That just means hidden knowledge, by the way. The occult means hidden knowledge. But once you realize how this hidden knowledge all ties in and the science behind it, you realize that actually my worldview, I've been wrong my entire life. So I'm only giving small snippets of information on these chats, but there is a whole lot of understanding behind it, which leads to a greater appreciation and understanding of the world.
That is a very, very honest, I mean, that's true, because let's face it, it's through mistakes and through errors that we get to understand things and get to perfection. For example, Mozart was probably crap when he was 3 months old at music, but he made a lot of mistakes until he found he made it good. But I realized that I was going in the wrong direction in my life a lot. I was in reverse gear. I was sort of, and something, I don't know what it is, something clicks in your brain after a while. I don't know what it is, but I think you've got to make those mistakes because that builds wisdom. Those mistakes, they do build this wisdom, because if you hadn't have gone down that road, you wouldn't be where you are now. Because that was your qualifications in the University of Life.
Yeah. Speaking of wisdom, well, intelligence, knowledge, and wisdom are kind of three aspects of the same thing. Wisdom is gained through knowledge, and knowledge can be gathered through intelligence. Essentially, intelligence, you could say, is a format to gain knowledge, obtaining facts and information is intelligence. That intelligence, if it forms a pattern, that pattern can lead to a knowledge, and knowledge formulates something called wisdom. Now, wisdom, of course, is a little bit it's probably a little bit more of a hidden quality, but wisdom in its occult sense actually means action, to take action. To take action in the world is what a wise person would do. So if I can just break that down slightly, and this is, by the way, this is something that has connection with an ancient form of education, an education known as the Trivium. And again, I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but the Trivium, of course, the Trivium means three. Obviously, try for three. And there's three aspects to it, which I've just discussed there. It was formerly known as grammar, logic, and rhetoric, to give it sort of classical direction. Grammar, logic, and rhetoric. But what that essentially means is how we've just described there. But if I was to equate this into a sort of modern day language, using sort of the understanding from computer programming, input, processing, and output, that's probably an easier way to understand how that dynamic works. And this was how ancient people, certainly all the ancient philosophers, understood this education methodology, because this is how they were trained. Now you'll notice in modern day life, what we do is we get an education which is based on, you could say, by rote, where we basically just spew out the same facts and figures that we're being given without giving it any thought. Yeah, so we don't give it any thought. And of course, our whole cultures, our whole societies are based on an indoctrination of education by rote, where nobody has the capacity to think and reason and to produce a logical output of wisdom. So therefore, all of these faults are over time manifest themselves into reality, because we are formatted with an incorrect education of the world. So, but getting back to wisdom, I said wisdom means action. And what that means is, if we've got a full appreciation of facts and information of the world, of whatever particular subject, we can then put that action out into the world. Now, that's just not happening too much in today's society, or if it is happening, whatever actions are going out are based on half truths, which is why understanding occult knowledge is so important, because occult knowledge, it's not going to go away just because somebody doesn't like the use of that word, or they think it means something dark. It simply means hidden information. And if you ain't got that information, then you're not putting a full appreciation out into the world, because that information is still hidden to their understanding.
That's fascinating. Reconciliation, Patrick says, 12 times 6 is 72. 72 is used to tell how many days it will take to pay back a loan to a given rate.
All right.
That's interesting. So,
interesting numbers.
That's interesting. And if Patrick would like to come on, just say, I'm sure he'd be welcome. 10 is a one number of the magician. Yes, because there's a difference between a magician and illusionists. Very big difference,
Well, speaking of magicians, Eric,
yeah.
a magician, I mean, people, you either believe in magic or you don't, but whether you believe in magic or not, the word magic is also remarkably close to the word maga or magi. You might have heard of that. Ancient magicians were known as magi, which is where we get the word MAGA from. MAGA, make America great again. That word as well just happens to be, if anyone understands the religion known as Satanism, the fifth degree of Satanism is known as the MAGA degree. And we've got that in plain sight on the news when people talk about make America great again, MAGA. Funny little connection there, isn't it?
There certainly is. I mean, talking about magic, I used to go out with a girl whose father was in Palestine after the war, when they had a lot of trouble. With the Urgan gang and things? Things like that. And it was very interesting. He came out with a lot of stories, and he made friends with a lot of the Arabs and people and that, and went out to, I think now, I could be wrong, I think it's the Bedouins or something, somebody like that, but this tribe that lives in the desert. I might be wrong, and so I do apologise if it's a Bedouin looking in and I made the mistake. So I do, but it was a long time ago, and he said that him and his friends, they were invited to this strange ritual, I suppose you could call it, and they all sat around this great big tent, and he saw two people dancing, and he said, we were as sober could be. We hadn't drunken any alcohol at all. And he said, and there's suddenly they transformed into like animals, their heads, and then they transformed back again. And he said, I know what I saw, and we all saw it. And it actually affected him for the rest of his life, I think, because he told me about it. Have you ever heard anything like that? I'm not sure whether it was the Bedouins or some other tribe. I don't know, but because what he saw in Palestine and the Middle East and that, I think it shook him. Because he was just after the war. He was actually assumed dead, and he woke up on a marble slab in the undertaker's place.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah. So he certainly had some, he's seen quite a bit of action. But have you ever heard of that, where people, they sort of transform, their heads are transformed into like animals, and then they transform back again? He said that was
I think all ancient cultures have got stories along those lines. I mean, you just have to look at Quetzalcoatl in South America. The jaguar as well. The jaguar people was quite another important one in South American cultures. It's probably all connected for some reasons.
It's fascinating. And now Reconciliation said Christ had 12 disciples. That's right. And and we've got here, hang on, let's put this other one on. Is Starmer going senile, mentioning sausages in his speeches? No, he's not going senile. He's bloody senile. No, I think you're right. I think it's just that was a humiliation thing. Then we got one of the reason the 12th is important is because it's on my birthday. There it is.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. And I guess who's on? It's Maureen Moon.
Hey.
Now, are you taking notes? So just give a little bit of time to get a piece of paper and a pencil, Aunt Sally. It's Mew Waters on YouTube and Mew Waters on Rumble.
Brilliant.
So it's Mew Space Waters on YouTube and Mew Waters all in one word on Rumble. So there we go.
So it's great she's joined the chat. I haven't seen Maureen for ages. Hope you're doing well. And I would recommend everybody to check out some of Maureen's content on the YouTube and Rumble. She gets some brilliant presentations and runs a wonderful group, Truth Seekers Northeast. So if you're in the Northeast, I do recommend everybody to go along. Best welcome you'll ever have, I reckon.
Yes, right. That's right. Geordie Land, isn't it? That's right.
Geordie Land.
Yeah. Well, it's a funny thing. You got Liverpudlians. You've got people, Geordies. You got Cockneys in London, but there's no name for people that live in the southeast, except for those silly bastards. I think that's what it is. Those was it? Those snobby bastards down the southeast. That. Now, Reconciliation says 3 days is 72 hours. And Nathan Lucius says Starmer impressions are terrifying. I've got to get the cucumber out next, just right. TSNE on Rumble. Hang on, TSNE on Rumble.
Truth Seekers Northeast.
That's what it is. Now it says, Monk Anthony says, flipped, released release the sausages. That's right. And this funny thing is, Punch and Judy has sausages, doesn't it? Oh, we got the sausages. Yeah, it says the North has had it. Now, Louise Wilcox, the North has had it over hard since the men stand against governments. Yes, yes. My granddad served soup in the soup kitchens to the what's name marchers? What were they called now? In the 30s, I can't think of the name. But it's down the road to you. It's supposed to be the biggest unemployment black spot in Britain. I said
That's
it
not.
earlier.
Did you say Jarrow?
Jarrow, that's it. The Jarrow
Jarrow?
marchers.
Okay.
Yeah, they marched through my where my granddad lived, and he served soup to them. So there we go. Shaming rituals. This is Louise Wilcox. Shaming rituals. All Freemasons have to do it at some time, do they?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll give one good example of this. Even though women generally aren't considered Freemasons, unless, of course, it's something called the Eastern Star group, but pop stars, everyone likes pop stars. So everybody probably remembers Janet Jackson at the Super Bowl, the superb owl, the owl of the Illuminati, where she bared a particular part of her anatomy. Do you remember that at all?
I remember that, yes.
Yeah, which happened to be a boob. Right,
yes.
She made a boob, and it was all supposedly. Sorry,
it raised a titter, didn't it?
It certainly did. But it was all kind of laughed as being accidental, but it was accidental on purpose. Yeah. If anybody was watching closely, I'd recommend having a look on YouTube to just or reruns of that Super Bowl performance. I forget what year it was, quite some time ago. But Janet Jackson was stood between two pillars, Jachin and Boaz, in Freemasonic law. Again, this was part of the stage show, the pageantry. If you have a closer look, and again, have a closer look at what she was wearing on her anatomy, she was wearing something called the Star of Ishtar. Again, this was all deliberate. This was all intentional over a boob. But she's not the only one. Again, you might have to dig a little for this. The pop star Pink, she also done the same performance where she revealed a breast. She was wearing Masonic checkerboard trousers or like lycra trousers in the Masonic checkerboard pattern, black and white checkerboard. But then there was another woman, and again, I'm not that familiar with her music. She's called Janelle Morrow, I believe, American. I think she's like a rap type artist, but she done exactly the same ritual at the MTV Music Awards, where she revealed a breast wearing black and white checkerboard patterned clothing. This is a Masonic ritual because Masons do this ritual. They have to reveal.
Roll up the trousers.
Yeah, the roll up the trousers. You might have heard of that, and the roll up the trousers. But again, initiates during this ritual will often be blindfolded. They'll also be bare chested, along with the one leg up and one leg down. Again, this is all very symbolic. This is one of the rituals they do, which is why we often see it on some of these sort of MTV type music shows, and certainly the Super Bowl performances. Again, if your viewership aren't familiar with that, all the Super Bowl performances are mock occult rituals with very specific psychological profiling done during these events.
Now that's fascinating. That really is fascinating because, when you look at if you've got another piece in the jigsaw puzzle to show the whole picture in many ways, because you look at the amount of stars that have been shown up, loads of them, absolutely shown up, and it's odd. It really is. Now, Dan MC says cork sausages. I don't know what sausages they are. I don't know. I think you've got sausages on the brain tonight. Yeah, I thought he said sausages deliberately. And Stephen Truth
Yeah,
said, yes.
I personally do. I'll be honest, I haven't seen the footage from that, but I think just because of the way they operate, I think that was probably the case.
Now, Mark Anthony said, remember Sunak standing outside Downing Street in the pissing of rain? I think that was a humiliation ritual as well.
Hmm.
Yeah. And was it
Everything on the, as far as I'm
flushed away?
concerned, this is all they do is rituals. Politics is full of rituals. The whole of politics is ritual. It's a religious ritual performance. Everything they do, from the dates that they announce elections to the inauguration ceremonies, these are all rituals, religious rituals.
Well, the House of Commons is a lot of rituals in the House of Commons. For example, they've got a line. You know, the name "You Toe the Line." Well, there's a line which is drawn either side of the house, which is they've measured it out. Where people years ago, when they went into the House of Commons with swords, they couldn't actually. It was too far for one side to hit the other bloke with a sword, so they had to not go over this line. That's where you toe the line, sort of thing. I don't
Yeah,
know. It's an old one, but there's loads of very weird rituals. What about that one where they have to force a bloke to go to the speaker or something? To me,
right.
it's like cobblers, you know. But anyway, Hereditous Get Fucked said, flushed away Sunak. Yes, I think he's gone to America, hasn't he? This is Gooner Mum. Hello, Gooner Mum. Hello, all made it here. And we got here. Mark Passio talks about the Trivium.
Yeah, yeah. I highly recommend his work. He talks specific. I mean, the Trivium's an ancient. Like I said, all the ancients used to be educated in this.
Mhm.
But Mark Passio gives excellent talks. Certainly, his talks about the Trivium. I'd recommend everybody who wants to know more about the occult and how it shapes our destiny to watch his work. Um, he's probably the best in the world, to be honest, in teaching occult knowledge. The Trivium's related to the. I mentioned it slightly before how it relates to the acquisition of knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. But that whole process, that Trivium process, is linked allegorically to what religion would call the Holy Trinity. Again, Trivium means three. Trinity means three. The Holy Trinity is usually given as the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, or the Holy Ghost, or whatever, depending on which religious doctrine you follow. You'll also notice that all religions, all the mainstream, certainly the Abrahamic religions, will have a trinity of deities, usually some form of God. Christianity will talk about Mary, Joseph, and the baby Jesus, i.e., the mother, the father, the child. If you have a look where Christianity is based on, i.e., ancient Egypt, again, ancient Egypt's got its own Holy Trinity, the original Holy Trinity of Osiris, the masculine figure, Isis, the female figure, and Horus, the child. Osiris was related to the sun. Isis, of course, is the moon goddess, and Horus was the falcon. But Horus was a male child, because you'll notice all of these religions as well. It's always a male child, and one of the reasons for that is because, as I said before, this male child is the product of the male and female aspects coming together in balance and creating something, and that creating a child essentially. That child is what's known as putting action into the world. And when I say wisdom, so wisdom is the child in that Holy Trinity allegory. The child relates to putting action into the world. And one way I often describe this process is to seek the truth, i.e., to gather and garner your information, to speak the truth, this would be known as rhetoric in the Trivium method, i.e., to speak what you've understood, and then the final phase is to honor the truth. Seek the truth, speak the truth, then finally honor the truth. Because unless you honor the truth and stand by the information you've gathered, then all of this stuff has been put to waste. It's all been in vain. So I hope that makes a little bit of sense.
Certainly does. DJ Flip says, I think, now I 100% agree with DJ Flip here. I've noticed this, and you probably noticed it as well. I think one of the problems in society has always been the belief that particularly good memory retention equals high intelligence. I don't think it does. I know it does. I worked with a structural engineer that had more qualifications than you could. Well, it is highly qualified bloke. I have a feeling his mummy and daddy might have, his rich mummy and daddy might have bought them for him, but I can't prove it. And he couldn't work out a way of folding a piece of paper up to make a bleeding door wedge to wedge the door open on a hot summer's day. Seriously, he could not work it out. You know, it was totally impractical. How he became a structural engineer, I do not know. But this is the thing.
I agree entirely there. I mean, you just have to look at the medical profession and I'm obviously not going to mention certain words, but there's some very, very intelligent people in the medical profession who are all backing a certain principle, which is complete lunacy. Yet some of these people, some of these very highly intelligent people, believe in all of it and think it's all real. When I'm a thick Geordie, ex-squaddy, I know it's bunk, and I knew it was bunk from day one.
You're not thick. That's one thing you're not. I 100% disagree with you there.
Well, that's very kind of you.
No, seriously.
So I'm an ex-squaddy, an ex-soldier.
I couldn't do what you did. I mean, I couldn't be a soldier, but I mean, you know, you're very skilled at presenting, and you're very skilled at putting this over. So
that's very kind of you. Can I just put a plug? Can I just put a plug there for my ex-squadron mates? I hope they're watching. There, that's my cap badge there. I hope you like that.
It's good. And also, you are now you're the senior defence minister, aren't you? Of Fockham.
The Fockham Hall Defence Attaché, I believe.
That's right. That's right. Yes. And
I wouldn't mind a field promotion if that's all right. Can I have a field promotion? I'd like to be the Fockham Hall Minister of Defence.
Minister of Defence and Field Marshal as well. You can be a
I'll do that as well.
Is it strange? Am I right in saying the Field Marshal is the top one of the lot, isn't he? Field Marshal. You know, it's a strange title, isn't it?
Field it could Marshal.
Be. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, I won't tell you that the budget is £1.56. So the defence budget. Actually, by the way, talking about defence, you know, he's talking about locking your homes and things like that, security. I saw a cracker today. I was walking back from the supermarket, and it's a fair distance. You know, it's about 3/4 an hour walk from where I am. And somebody, you know, has got a polystyrene head. I think it's what women put wigs on, or if they've got a wig or something. You know, like, have you seen those polystyrene heads? That you can, I think
I know what you mean.
I mean, they're hairdressers, I think. I don't know, but and they had it in their window, but just slightly back, so it looks like someone looking out the window. And I thought, what a marvelous security idea! And it really freaked me out. Sort of this, you just see that head looking at you. You think, is that human? You didn't want to look sort of like this because it's rude. Then you thought, hang on, it's not. It's a very good security, I thought, idea. And now we got here taught by bee workers for them. Hang on. Taught to be workers for. Correct. Sorry, I got that wrong.
Right.
Taught to be workers for them. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you get degrees at university.
Yeah, and
Masonic
most of them are.
degrees.
They're like Starmer, as thick as two short planks, and very gullible. Oh, actually, I'll have to tell you this one. You've probably heard it before. This Gormley's git who I talked about. Let's hope he's not watching. I worked in I did a contract as a freelance bloke in Barking in Essex, centre of civilization as we know it. And this Gormley's git lived in some shithole in London. He used to cycle in on his bike. And of course, it was a racing bike. We can quick release wheels. So what did he do? He chained it up to the fence outside, but the wheel. And he decided to go away for the weekend. And when he came back Monday morning, I mean, the thieves must have thought Christmas had come early. There's just a wheel there. So we said, well, why don't you put it in the foyer? Because there was like the security bloke as you walked in, and some stairs went up, and there was like an empty space under the stairs. Said, why don't you put it there? Don't be stupid. I can't put it there. That's ridiculous. No, you spoke like that. I said, well, you can have a word with the security bloke. I'm sure he won't mind. He'd keep an eye on it. Anyway, weeks passed. He went away for another weekend, and the same thing happened again. Things must have thought, oh, goody, we're enjoying this, I think that time, I think they picked the lock as well, and I think they took the whole bike. Anyway, in those days, you could get police. He asked the police in. So, and we had these at an open plan office where you have sort of like glass walls or partitions where you can sort of see through. So there's a police officer sitting there, and you can see him talking, and he walks out, and he comes over to us. He says, oh, this police officer, he's marvellous. Do you know what he said? He said, why don't you put it underneath in the lobby, underneath the stairs? And we said, well, hang on, we've been telling you that. No, but you've got to get it from a professional. That's their logic. That's the way they think.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not a professional policeman, are you? No. So it's common sense, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, exactly. Do you know? I was talking about the Trivium, and again, I'm only giving little, sugarcoating the information that's required to fully understand this. But it's also related to something called the sacred triad. And again, of course, we'll all know that means three as well. Triad is a collection of three, because it's a massively important number in the occult scheme of things. The sacred triad relates to, we've talked about the Trivium, we've talked about the Holy Trinity, but the sacred triad relates to the structure of the human brain, how the mind works, and it works on something called the Triune brain. Again, that's another word for the three parts of the brain. It's known as the Triune brain. And those regions relate to something called the reptilian brain, the mammalian brain, and the human brain. But more specifically, or to be more sort of, to give them the more scientific words, the reptilian brain is known as the mammalian brain. Mm-hmm. It's known as the limbic system, or the emotional brain, and the human brain is known as the neocortex. So how that relates, obviously, you'll understand from the cycle of life and what they call, the giant hoax known as evolution. We started off as reptiles, then we turn into mammals, and then we eventually turn into humans. But anyway, reptiles, the reptilian brain is the lowest aspect of the brain. It deals with survival, so things like fight and flight. It's very susceptible and prone to fear. So if you keep somebody in a state of fear, that person is going to base his understanding and project the reality of the world through the basal ganglia, i.e., they're unable to think critically. That's why we're put in a state of fear, essentially. So we think from that aspect. The next, the sort of middle aspect of that triad is the limbic system, which deals with emotions. So if our emotions are kept at a certain frequency, low, for example, our limbic system is going to project and think in a low frequency. But the higher mind is known as the neocortex. This is where critical thoughts, where intellect, where understanding patterns and complex information. That's where the region of the brain deals with that. Now it's interesting because have you seen the film The Matrix?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it. No, I've seen bits of it, but I haven't seen the whole
Okay.
film. No.
Well, I mean, it's quite a popular film. Came out quite a few years back, starring Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves, the lead character in The Matrix, he stars as a character known as Neo. So remember that word neocortex?
Yeah. Yes.
So without giving a full synopsis of the plot of that film, but Neo's romantic interest in the film is called Trinity. So Neo, essentially, he becomes a karate kicking, bullet dodging superhero in the Matrix, which is like the fake reality. Because what he does is he follows the Trinity. He follows Trinity. He follows the Holy Trinity, i.e., the three aspects that we related to before: seek the truth, speak the truth, honor the truth. If you do those three things, you become like Neo. You think with the neocortex, the higher mind. But I think that's a very interesting analogy in a Hollywood film. And again, I don't know whether that was deliberate, intentional, or just completely accidental, but it kind of relates entirely to how the world works.
That's interesting because the Chinese gangs that are similar to the mafia are called the triads.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I'm going to mention Bruce Lee. I don't know if he was Chinese, but Chinese. Was he Chinese?
Hong Kong, wasn't he? Didn't he
Hong
come from
Kong?
Hong Kong?
Okay.
I think
He's right.
I might be wrong, but I think he did.
Yeah. So Bruce Lee was in a film called Enter the Dragon. Mm-hmm. So the dragon, and he entered the dragon, which is essentially it's a kung fu movie, and he entered the dragon and became another superhero, kick ass. Managed to defeat all his enemies because he was awesome. But enter the dragon of the mind, the dragon of desire, and the dragon of evil. That's kind of Chinese mythology on the sacred triad. Entering the dragon is the three dragons of the mind. And in order to enter the dragon, you go through a grading process. You start off at white belt, you then get a yellow belt, and you go all the way up the seven colors of the chakra, or the seven colors of the rainbow, to achieve the black belt and become awesome in the martial arts in order to defeat evil. This is all allegory. Again, whether it was accidental or deliberate, I do not know. But entering the dragon, that's what that's about. It's about the sacred triad and how to defeat evil in the world by going through the grading process and accumulating the knowledge, skills, and wisdom, and then putting it out into the actions in the world. This is what the esoteric aspects of alchemy is all about: how to master the world and defeat the enemies of the Matrix.
That's fascinating. That really is. Now, Louise Wilcox says they try to indoctrinate our brains with so much garbage, we stop wanting to learn. We stop using our intuition and start believing all their BS. Well, that's right.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about it, years ago, let's look at, say, times of Agincourt and that time. Now, you would go into the same sort of trade as your father did, and your father would show you on the spot how to survive. And women, they learnt from their mothers how to cook, how to get water, and things like this. Men learnt how to hunt, how to use a bow and arrow, and those skills have been virtually lost forever because you put me sort of in the middle of the woods. I wouldn't survive. I wouldn't survive very long. But our great grandparents, you would, yes, because you're trained in that. But the fact is, our great grandparents, it was second nature to them. They knew how to survive and what to eat and that type of thing. And I saw someone today. I won't say who it is on YouTube. So about stocking up with food, and you realise they didn't have a bloody clue because they bought the most expensive stuff and generally the wrong sort of stuff.
Mhm.
It's I don't know, but anyway, we got here DJ Flipped. You're right. They reward, this is Gooner Mum, memory of how they wrongly describe things. Intelligence is different. It's working things out and understanding and invention, etc. Well, necessity is the mother of invention. But going back to what you said about the health industry, and it is industry. I was talking to Miles Fleetwood, Dr. Miles Fleetwood,
Mm.
and I was saying, we were saying that there's a difference between a doctor and a healer. Now, a doctor is a person that's it. He's got all that. He's read, loads and loads of data, etc., etc. But a healer is something different. It's a person like the medicine man or the medicine woman. They've got this natural skill to heal people, and I think they're worth their weight in gold. They really are. And I'm not talking about. I mean, I've actually had faith healing, and it's fantastic. That works as well. I'm a great believer in faith healing. I know it's worked. And now says DJ Flipped. To me, true intelligence equals the ability to gain wisdom and maturity from experience. That's great. That's right. And Mark Anthony said, Eric, just had a quick look on Rumble, and last night's show is still there. Is it?
Oh, well, happy days.
Happy. Hey, that's made me happy, isn't it? Do you know, I'm going to have a sip of water because it's made me so happy, that has it? Huh? Let's drink to it. Let's use, hang on, H2O with a little bit of few drops of mineral in there. Shape shifting. No, I went before I came on the show, actually. Oh, sorry, shape shifting. Yes, sorry. It's a bit like the constipated clerk that worked it out with a pencil, isn't it? Anyway,
is he talking about? You were talking about people merging with animals earlier.
Oh, that was it. Yes, that's it.
Speaking of which, can I just mention? Again, I guess a lot of your viewers have already seen, but outside the UN headquarters in New York was the Beast of End Times, the Beast of Revelations. Was immortalized in a monument outside the UN headquarters, and I think that was placed there last year, or it didn't last long. I think there was that much bad publicity from it. They actually removed it, but yeah, that I think a picture tells 1,000 words, doesn't it?
Oh, crumbs! It does. That's quite incredible. Well, what gets on my nerves is this satanic art that you see around London, and I think it's popping up in all major cities and towns and that. This I can only have one word for it: crap. That's the only thing you can call it. It's not art at all. It's something,
Well, and, as I said earlier, it's the externalization of the hierarchy. All of this demonic idolatry is coming to the surface, being brought to light. That's what's going on.
Hello, Mew.
Hello, Maureen.
Hi, guys.
Maureen's a top girl, by the way.
Yes, is she? Yeah, that's right. I think she's is she I think she's the Fockham Hall cultural attaché, isn't she? Bringing civilization to the primitive peoples of the northeast.
Yeah, she's definitely a well-known face in the northeast, and
That's right.
a wonderful person too.
She's a very warm person, very nice.
Oh, she's brilliant. Yeah.
Um,
She's saying she's getting into playwriting and poetry,
very
and she's
writing.
retired. Yeah.
Plus, I've retired from my day job. Oh well,
Brilliant.
yes. Well, let's put it this way. I've retired, but I have to keep working to keep myself in retirement. Work that one out.
You're not a professional cyclist, Eric, are you?
Well, I'm planning on it.
No. I was on my bike last night. I'll give you a race one day. How about that?
Oh, that's a good idea. Yes, that's a good idea. Oh, by the way, back to Rumble. I think I know the reason they put that up. I know the reason they put it back because I threatened to send Survival Steve and the boys round to visit Rumble. I think you're going to go there with the violin cases, weren't you? So put that.
Oh yeah.
I knew you were
special
reasonable
ones.
people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Godfather, you have to put cotton wool in your mouth. Yeah. I knew you were reasonable people, I'll give you a race on a bike, yes. I got my racing bike out, I don't know about you, but I actually cycle like a bat out of hell sometimes. Because what I like about it is you can't get done for speeding, can you? Now, to join the big club, try a carrot first, work your way up the pyramid. Yes. And I couldn't think of the march. It was the Jarrow March. Thanks.
Yeah.
Louise, yes.
Yeah.
Now, Jarrah Elvis.
No, I've heard of that. I think there's a Jarrah cowboy as well. I'm sure there's a cowboy in Jarrah as well.
Yes. I used to think Jarrow was a vegetable. Oh, I'm eating more Jarrows today. Plus, our second showing of all our sellout pantomime is on the 12th of October.
Oh, that's interesting. Oh, she's saying it's called Tinder Fella, not for children. Oh, I'll have to watch that.
Would you like some delicate poetry? Maverick Prowls made rumbling bells that thundered through the night. He shook the bedrooms all around and gave the folks a fright. The doctor called. He was appalled when through his stethoscope heard the sound of baying hounds and smelt the archery smell of smoke. Is there a cure? The higher the fewer, the learned doctor said. Then turned poor Maverick upside down and stood in on his head. And so, my friends, this is the end, a warning to the few. Beware of doctors till the end, or they'll get rid of you. That's Spike Milligan, that is. That's not mine.
Well remembered.
Yes, I remember that was. Do you know, sorry, other kids, when I was at school, were learning Shakespeare. I was learning Spike Milligan. Madonna, high priestess or prostess, has flashed her boob a couple of times. Yeah, she used to do porno stuff, didn't she? You can see lots of women are now in the group with the one eye symbol amongst other symbols. Yes.
Yeah, excellent points. Yeah, Madonna's definitely the high priestess. Tell Dawn.
Priestess Lil.
Yeah. I'm going to put a shout out here for Dawn, who's Maureen's daughter. She's a big Madonna fan. Madonna's the high priestess. Just, I hope she's listening.
Now, we've got here, isn't the WI the female branch? No, it's a star, I think it is. Because I wonder what they do. Do they show their boob during their ritual or something and roll their skirt up or something? I don't know. I mean, I might join them actually. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Do you want to come along? The female, no, I don't think they allow men in. No, that's the trouble, isn't it? Mind you, what all this, all that stuff where you got to be, I don't know, identify yourself as something, Now, where are we? The women's branch is called the Eastern Star.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that was the Berber. There's the Berber star and there's the Eastern Star, isn't there?
Yeah, just
Completely
a quick one on the Eastern Star. The Order of the Eastern Star, they use as their logo, their symbol is the inverted pentagram. The inverted pentagram, of course, is a symbol associated with Satan or the devil, an inversion essentially. But where else do we see that inverted pentagram? Well, if we were to have an aerial view of Washington D.C., we would see built in the
Yes.
city's architecture into the roads an inverted pentagram, a giant one, and the inverted lowest apex is pointing directly to the White House. That's peculiar, isn't it? And not far from the White House is an obelisk, and the word obelisk literally translates to mean the shaft of Baal, i.e., the phallus of Baal. Baal is Lord of the Underworld, and the phallus of Baal, Washington D.C. monument, happens to be 6,660 inches tall and 666 inches wide. And if that was just a coincidence, the little pointy bit at the top, the apex, that's 660 inches, 66 inches tall too. How about that?
Now that's interesting. That really is. And also, was it the Pentagon? Wasn't that finished on 9/11, 1941?
Yeah,
Bit weird. And
exactly.
the strange thing is that the Axis powers, everything was in their favour until the Pentagon was built, and then it went the other way.
Weird.
Strange. And now DJ Flitz says I left a message earlier giving Maureen's YouTube channel and Steve's 3-part Magic Christmas talk, and my message never appeared. Oh, sorry, mate, you didn't see that. Did you see it? Did you see it? I didn't see it.
No, but Maureen, I think somebody, I'm not sure if it was Maureen herself, her channel's called New Waters.
Yes.
I tried to join the chat myself, but for some reason I can't type anything, so I kind of put my channel down. But it's on BitChute. It's called Six Blade, and I have got is it a three part? I have got a Christmas presentation there. It's called the Magic of Christmas. Magic spelled as it appears in DJ Flip's comment there, MAGGICK.
I try and read all items out. And I do apologise profusely if I have missed you. I may have done. I'm only human, but it wouldn't have been deliberate. I would have read that out. So I can only assume it's YouTube doing their funnies, you know. So I do apologise. If it is me, I apologise. But if it isn't, well, it's probably bloody YouTube. All planned, isn't it, Guna Mum? Nothing's an accident with them. It's all part of their plan. You're right. Yes. We got
Matrix.
But isn't the WI a branch of the Eastern Star? I don't know. Women's Institute.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
Because I used to give out teas during World War. I think that Women's Institute used to bake cakes and give out teas to the troops who was coming back from Dunkirk during World War II, weren't they? They were out there.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's all controlled by the media. Yeah. I agree with you, Stephen Truth Seeker. Not sure about the WI. No, I don't know. It might make nice jam, though. The Trinity in Christianity represents the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and again, without going too massively deep into it, there's two schools of thought in the world. One's known as the esoteric side, and the other one's called the exoteric. Exoteric means open to all. I.e., most people have got an understanding of certain things. Certainly, religion. Most people have got what's known as an exoteric understanding of religion. Very few people have got an esoteric understanding of religion. if I was to say, for example, there's two books in the Bible, two parts to the Bible, the New Testament and the Old Testament, and I'm just going by Christianity alone here. So the Christian Bible, two parts, Old and New, i.e. two parts to it. There's also two parts to the, if anyone understands, tarot cards, Torah cards. Tarot cards have got major and minor arcanas, and i.e. two parts. The universe and the man. The man is known as the microcosm, and the universe is known as the macrocosm, because the universe is just an embodiment of man. Okay, and again, this is quite long-winded to understand how these dynamics work. I'm just giving a snapshot here. But esoteric Christianity, for example, everything in the Bible, that is, including the Holy Trinity, also has another half to it that few people understand or appreciate. In fact, a lot of people in the exoteric understand and will dispute this completely. But the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, as I've said, that dynamic in its esoteric understanding is not the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. It's the principles of the masculine, the female energies, and the product of those two combinations which give birth to the child, and the child represents action, and wisdom. Action and wisdom are the same thing. That's what the Holy Trinity means in the esoteric understanding. And I certainly, if anyone wants to know more about what I'm talking about here, I would recommend a man called Santos Bonici, who talks about esoteric Christianity, puts a very good understanding out there. You know, and if you understand how this works, again, I said before, if you've got all the information, not just half the information, what you put out into the world is going to be more aligned with truth. So therefore, if you only understand exoteric Christianity, for example, i.e. the literal translation of the Bible, you only understand half the picture. So what you put out into the world is only based half truth. If you want to put out the full truth, you need to have the full understanding. So that's my sort of snapshot take on that, if that's all right. But good comment, Aunt Sally.
And Aunt Sally said, this is to do with DJ Flipped. I don't think YouTube allows links. I think you got a point there. Yeah, that's
all
probably
right,
what. Okay. That might be the reason, DJ. That might be. I believe, this is Louise, I believe the current issues we are going through is because they are infighting between the rise of the Golden Dawn and the Order of the Phoenix. Interesting.
It's very speaking of Phoenix, the Order of the Phoenix. Let's talk about a Phoenix, because and again, I'd encourage people to go and have a little internet search for this. Have a look at a place called Kazakhstan. Have a look at the capital of Kazakhstan, because this is where the rise of the Phoenix is currently taking place. The rise of the Phoenix, the New World Order's financial capital of the world, is going to be in the East. Okay, it's no longer going to be Wall Street. It's going to be Astana in Kazakhstan, the capital of Kazakhstan. Have a look at the architecture of the New World Order capital of the world, Astana. Now have a look at the word Astana and see what words we can formulate from an anagram of that word. Astana. Astana is an anagram of Satan, and Astana was established, i.e. renamed, on March the 22nd, and I believe it was 2015, if my memory serves me well. 2015, March the 22nd, that's when Astana was renamed. Why? Wow. Because it fits into their satanic season of sacrifice. this is the level of the ingenuity of this is the level of the ingenuity of this controlling body of people, Satan worshippers.
They've got so much money there. That's all they've got to do, isn't it? To actually look into this. This is the thing. They're absolutely rolling in money. More money you could ever dream of. DJ Flipped, I saw a comment from you, but it didn't help me find Mew Waters. I found it now. You are probably on top chat instead of live chat. Check above the chat box and change it. There's top chat and there's top cat as well. This is Cinnamon and Nutmeg. Do you know Cinnamon and Nutmeg? Well done, Steve, for standing by your morals and being on the right side of history. More men should turn up like you. Wake up, world. Hello, Cinnamon and Nutmeg. I've never seen you before, but you're welcome.
Yeah, I know who they are. They've got a channel on YouTube.
Really?
Yeah. It's quite funny. So, yeah.
Oh, anything humorous I like. Was it called Cinnamon and Nutmeg, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. People take the piss out of David Icke, but his reptilian research is very interesting. Yes. Now, Matrix was international to see how asleep the people of the world are. That's Louise. And she's gone on to say, Bruce, born in China, moved to America as a child. Both him and his son killed on set. Sad that, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things we can take out of both those aspects. But I mean, Bruce Lee, for example, died at the age of 32. He never quite made it to the 33rd degree. I'm always quite curious when we see the number 32 or 33, you know, in little aspects like this. I know it probably doesn't make a great deal of sense given no background as to how this formulates, but some of the great philosophers and wise men from ancient times in history have all said that numbers make the world. The world is a projection of numbers, and if you understand the numbers behind things, then you understand the world. So, of course, all numbers have meaning. They're assigned meanings and symbols. So if we understand this, we can formulate an understanding and appreciation of just how this matrix world actually works.
Yeah, that's fascinating. Maureen said, "I'm a pensioner. You don't look it. Got a bus pass too."
Dear.
The satanic crap, this is Louis Wilcox, is to put on the show of who is in control, but they also know their time is up and they're trying to convince the masses to follow the light.
Yeah, it's a good comment. Essentially, though, you know, we do almost have to tip our hats to the darkness, as much as that sounds a little bit sinister, because if we didn't know it and see it and understand it, then we wouldn't be able to attain that higher level of light, because we wouldn't appreciate it the way we do. So that's a real good comment.
That's good. And we got here Eric Von Essex, stuffed marrow, not stuffed jarrow. Although the government tried hard. That's Louis Wilcox. Maureen says tickets are £5. That's not bad, is it? I'm playing buttons. Do you accept FOT bobs? You download that money off the internet. You know, if you're short of a few bob, you just download them like the government does. You know, they just print money. Now we got here. Nathan has said, "Hiya, Maureen. Hi all. Loving tonight's show. Apologies, can't type or chat as watching via Xbox." Oh well, we've all got our problems.
He should be writing. He should be writing Fake Awake Part 2.
Yeah. Now it says Dawn doesn't think the current Madonna is the real one. Nor do I, actually. She does look as if she's been replaced.
She's definitely not human. That's that Madonna I'm talking about, Dawn.
she's had what I call the underwater treatment, and what that is, when someone's had plastic surgery, they always look like someone underwater. Sort of, hello.
Yeah,
But
I think she must be a doll or something. She's not real.
no, that's right.
Hi, Dawn, by the way.
And the female Illuminati is the highest human secret society next to Lucifer. That's Stephen Truthseeker. And he's carried on to say the Phoenix was at the end of the London Olympics. Yes,
Yeah.
I believe it was. And Louise Wilcox says Lucifer is the light bearer. Is he?
Yep. Lucifer from Lux. Lux, of course, the light bearer.
Lucifer doubles up as Jesus, so Stephen Truthseeker says.
Yeah, there's a lot of schools of thought that kind of associate these two individuals or deities with the same attributes.
Yeah, so that's interesting, isn't it? So, but yeah, it's going to be, as I say, interesting. Going back to the beginning of the show, what's going to happen on Halloween? If something's going to happen, it's going to be. My personal theory is, if anything's going to happen, it'll be the finance going tits up. That's what I think it'll be, followed by. I'm not sure how they could actually have a war with Russia. They can have an economic war, yes, which is going on at the moment. But I mean, they're just sort of, it's like a phony war. They're just sort of lobbing sort of missiles into Russia and sort of prodding the bear, as I say, poking the bear. And we just hope the bear doesn't wake up.
The thing is, we are in the apocalypse, so something big and dramatic's got to happen. Yeah. You know, the way I see it is almost everyone's going to be at war with everybody, including themselves. I mean, interestingly, 4 years ago, in fact, it'll be 5 years ago now, I was speculating that America would be involved in civil war, and I found it quite comical in a sense that a film called Civil War came out just last year, Civil War based in America. But it wouldn't surprise me if the UK also has some sort of conflict of its own sort here on British soil.
I don't like to see violence. I don't like to see killing or anything like that. But the trouble is, whenever there's a violent uprising, there's always a vacuum, and a psychopath fills the vacuum almost every time. That is the problem. And really, it doesn't really prove anything, violence, I don't think. I don't know. It's very interesting. What's your view, Steve? I mean,
the psychopaths are already running the show. The psychopaths have been running the show for generations. Yeah. If anything, as I was saying earlier, we talked about the Holy Trinity. We talked about the sacred triad and what that means. Seek the truth, speak the truth, honor the truth. When we, as light bringers, as people who want to be in the light, because we've established the fact that darkness is controlling the destiny of our reality, we need to, as human beings, we need to be more human and do something about it to shape the destiny back to how we want to the world to be, for the benefit of our children, for the benefit of our future. We need to honor the truth shaped in the image of God, of godliness. We need to take back control of our reality. We need to stop worshipping, idolizing, following, or even listening to the lunatics who are currently screwing the place up. And I include the government in this. I'm even though I used to work for the clowns, I saw the light and realized that this entity, the government, it's a word that means mind control, incidentally. Go and look that one up. Parliament means to speak lies. Parla means to speak. It's French word. Mentir means lies, to speak lies. Mind controllers who speak lies. That's who people vote for. Lunatics who are deliberately screwing with the place to
I agree with you.
yeah.
Well, I think government is mafia with the best PR our money can buy, and both the royalty and the government are just using the best PR, and they can and they survive on PR. They realise that, you know.
We need to stop following this mind control and religion, because that's what government is. Authority is a form of religion. We need to step out of that culture of mind control religion and become self-governable. But that means we have, in order for that to work, we have to be more aligned with morality, and we have to be more aligned with truth, i.e., the Trinity, the Trivium. This is all things that we have to become more au fait with. And in addition, we'll also have to be familiar with the occult, because the occult means hidden, and all of this stuff is hidden from us. So when we start to learn all of these things as a society, our society will improve. And when our society improves, we will become more able to govern ourselves without the need for a mummy and daddy of authority.
Oh, spot on. I mean, I was talking to Nathan the other day, Nathan Richards. We were saying that it would take several generations to put right what is actually going on, because we've been conditioned into looking for an authority figure to lead us from school, and we got to get that out because of people. Because if you're looking for an authority figure, just look in the mirror. That's
exactly
and that's the thing. But if we tried to do it, big problem is, as I say, it would take several generations. I really do believe that, you know. And well, Nathan, we was discussing it, you know, together. But now Louise has said, keep your eyes open. Either food prices will be controlled by government or civil war. Either way, don't believe the hype. Well, I was actually in a well-known supermarket this afternoon, and the stuff there, it looks manky. It really does. It looks stale. You know, you get broccoli and it's looking a bit yellow. It should be real dark green. Celery. I mean, as I say, I grow my own celery, but I've got to buy the celery from the supermarket first, then cut the stump off, and then stick it in some water, you know. Yeah, it's. I actually think I noticed the food prices gradually going up and up and up and up. You know. Now Nathan has said, "Fake Awake Part 2 already half complete." Title: Hypo Christianity.
I've been to his Hypo Christianity presentation. I've got to admit, it's a work of art. It's a tremendous presentation, and I've not seen many people cover the things that he talks about on that, and he's put it together in a brilliant package. So if he's writing a book on that, I think it'd be awesome.
Oh, that'd be brilliant. Yes, and Lucifer is G's the Son. This is Nathan. And we got Louise who says parlay equals pirate beginning rather. Sorry.
Pirates bargaining.
Bargaining. I'm terribly sorry.
Right, okay. Yeah.
Bargaining, yes. It's yeah. So pirates bargaining.
That's why we get so many false flag events happening, because they're all a bunch of pirates.
Pirates talking bargaining. Yes. And we got here, working for the clowns. I'm on a new song, Steve. Well, when you've done the song, why not download it? We'll plug it on here. Be good, wouldn't it? You know, as long as you don't try and plug Yoko Ono, that'd be the best. Because as I said on the previous show, she sounds like a cat being doctored without an anaesthetic, doesn't she? Well, you know.
Can I just mention, speaking of clowns, I used to work for clowns, all right? That was my regimental, what's known as regimental stable belt. The reason I'm showing that, have a look at that colour.
Blue.
Okay, that was that colour. Now have a look at Scottish Rite Freemasonry, the colour of Freemasonry. All right. Freemasonry, I was on about the Bible comes in two halves, the universe comes in two halves, the tarot cards come in two halves. The Freemasonry comes in two halves: Scottish Rite and York Rite, red, blue lodge. Okay, red and blue. Red and blue combined. Red is the female aspect, blue is the male principle. Combine those colours, what do we get? We get purple. Purple, the highest end of the colour of the rainbow. Merge those two colours and we become enlightenment. You know, and I'm just giving sort of rough snapshots on how some of this stuff works and some of the meaning behind stuff. But that colour blue, that colour blue, this is the Masonic roots of the military. And I mean, I talk about the military because obviously I served in the military for a while. Military comes in three rank structures, three main ranks. Start off as a soldier. The word soldier means soul dyer or soul dead. Get promoted, you become a lance corporal and then a corporal. You get one chevron as a lance corporal, two chevrons as a corporal. The word corporal is corpse, i.e. dead, a dead entity. And then if you move on, you get three chevrons, i.e. the chevrons. And have a look at, just go and have a look in the chevron rank structures in Freemasonry. It's the same thing. Then you become a sergeant, and the word sergeant is a French word for servant, because that's what you are in the military. This is what that means. So clowns for sure. And I'd like to just call every single person in my regiment a complete clown, because none of them are standing in honor. None of them are standing in truth, no matter. I've served legal notice on my commanding officer. Big bozo the clown. You think they're all big and hard, but not one of you has got the bottle to stand up for the truth. So that's the British Army. Boo.
Yeah, that's interesting. And actually, it's made me think, because my dad's regimental cap badge, that had a star on it, and that was the Devonshire Regiment, 2nd Devons.
Okay. Was it inverted by any chance? Because I'll tell you what it is. You like this one, Eric?
Yeah.
If you have a look at the Medal of Honor, again, I'll encourage everybody, go and have a look at the Medal of Honor, study it and see what shape it is. It's an inverted pentagram. So this is the highest honor that's usually awarded by the President of the United States of America to servicemen and women for gallantry in the military. It's the inverted pentagram. Not only that, National Medal of Honor Day happens to fall within a period known as the Satanic Season of Sacrifice, because that's what war is, that's what soldiering is, that's what the army represents. Meat popsicles who sign their soul away in order to become ritual blood sacrifices for the wealthy elite, the banking fraternity, and the controllers of the human environment. That's what that is.
Well, last time I think this country had to fight off an invader was 1066, because and we lost in 1066. Napoleonic Wars, I don't think Napoleon was that much of a threat to Britain, really, because we had a navy which could have blown him out of the water. So, you know,
for me, it's all bread and circuses anyway. It's all smoke screens designed to partly. I'm not going to say entertain. I'm going to say entrain the masses into following the principle of the authority that they bear down. That's all. We don't. If we got rid of government, seriously, if we got rid of government, the first thing that would disappear is war. There'd never be a war if you got rid of the government.
Oh, right on. And do you know something? Folk are generally okay to each other. Doesn't matter what nationality, what
Yeah.
we you know, the people want to look help a family, they want to bring up a family and be nice to people. I mean, give it a perfect example. You look at Japan during World War II. I mean, they absolutely brutalized their army. The way they were trained was fanatical. But when you look at the Japanese people today, they're so placid and so kind. You'd never think that a nation could have actually been so aggressive during World War II. It's just, you know, kamikaze pilots and a highly educated society as well.
Yeah.
And I agree with this. I've already started. Stephen Truthseeker says stop voting. Yeah, I haven't voted for years.
Yeah. Spot on.
Yeah, and I won't play their game. Cinnamon and Nutmeg said, really looking forward to reading your book, Nathan. That's good. Yes, it's a good book. Albert Pike, description of World War III seems very accurate.
Yeah,
And
exactly. It's all taking place.
Get Fuchs says electric blue.
Yeah, it's referring to the official description would be Oxford blue, because that's where the person who designed the badge, the regimental colour scheme, went to Oxford apparently. But no, it's not. That's Freemasonic Blue Lodge. That's what that is. And there's a mass. I mean, I'm not going to go into it here, but there's a massive reason why it's that particular shade of blue as well. In Freemasonry, it's got some massive connections. Here's a quick one for you, and I think on the electromagnetic spectrum, blue fits into the it's something like 666, whatever the measurement is. But before I forget, Halloween's associated with the color orange, and the color orange on the light spectrum is 666 nanometers, and one of the reasons orange is associated with Halloween, not only because we've got pumpkins, but have a look at what else we can see with the color orange. William of Orange, from the Glorious Revolution of was it 1868 or 1686, something like that?
16 something, wasn't it? 16.
Yeah.
Something or other.
1680s, whenever that was. William of Orange, of course. There's Orange. We've got Agent Orange from the Vietnam era, where the US soldiers were dropping chemicals upon, the poor people of Vietnam, turning them, giving them hideous disfigurements and what have you. Who else is associated with orange? Mr. Trump. He's a particular shade of orange, isn't he? And he lives in a 666-foot tall building on the 66th floor.
Orange Order in Northern Ireland?
Orange, yeah, exactly. Again, and that's all got its roots behind William of Orange from the Glorious Revolution. But not only that, we've also got a Clockwork Orange. And if you want to check out how dystopian, the modern world dystopias in the New World Orders playing out, we'll just watch Clockwork Orange. It's all coming to light.
Yes, interesting film, because Stanley Kubrick actually banned that himself, didn't he? In this country, but you could go to France and see it. I've seen the film, and I wouldn't say it's Kubrick's best. I think he's done better films than that, but it's a good film.
His Apollo 11 film was quite good. The moon landings. That was his best ever. Nice one, Stanley.
There we got here 100 Stephen Truthseeker, 100%. When everyone stops voting, the curtain falls and the wizard is shown for the cowardly man he is. That's Louis Wilcox. Yes, well, yes, I don't vote. And by the way, did you know that the army, with the saluting, what is it? Longest way up to salute, shortest way down. I think that's what my dad said it was. But the Fockham salute, the Fockham salute, you know what that is?
I'll go for it.
Yeah, you got one foot slightly in, and then you put your left hand scratching your backside, and you blink your eyes and poke your tongue out. You see that's the Fockham salute. So if you see a
I like
sergeant
it.
major,
I know I'm probably repeating myself here, but when you salute, you're pointing to your third eye, and what you're doing is you're pointing your third eye, and you're addressing the officer who you address as sir, as in serpent, and sir stands for slave I remain. You're acquiescing your third eye to your serpent class. That's what a salute is.
really? And do you know what Spike Milligan said when he was in the war? He said an officer said to him, "Stop speaking when you're talking to an officer." That's a classic. That one is. More people should learn natural law. This is cinnamon and nutmeg. Mark Piaget's talks are so enlightening and educational. And
Yeah, I agree with that.
Snanook says, "Have you seen that picture of the Queen coming out of Edward the Seventh Hospital with a massive grin and frowning eyes, and the nurse behind her?" Yes, I have, with Masonic symbol on the bucket. Yeah, I'm zooming
Those
through
Masonic symbols, you've got them on the ambulance helicopters. You've got them on ambulances. You know, all over the place. If you look at, I think it was the Westminster Bridge.
NHS.
Yeah, they landed a helicopter. I think it was the Westminster Bridge attack, which was, again, that was March the 22nd, the Satanic Season of Sacrifice. They landed a helicopter which actually did nothing. It just landed, stopped for a few minutes and took off. But that was covered in Masonics
Really?
Symbols.
And then you got Yoko Ono. This is Stephen Tree says, Yoko Ono, Japanese royalty. Yes, she is. Yes.
Is she? Wow.
Yeah, and she can't sing. Now, Nathan's Fake Awake talk, this is Maureen, is on my Rumble channel. Mew Waters, MEWWATERS. Steve's talks are there too. Oh, that's good.
Yay!
Blue is the colour of the Blessed Virgin Mary. This is from Reconciliation. Okay. Baby with a laser. Goats as mascots says it all.
Yeah, exactly. Goats.
Well, it's like they have Agni aunts. Do they have Agni aunts in the army now? I think they did start them. And she got a letter saying, "I miss getting a kiss from Nanny at night." And she said, "You must leave the regimentals go alone." Sorry. Sorry, it's a terrible one. And, they thrive off our blood one way or another. This is Louise, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And Nutmeg said, "Shout out to Truth Seekers Northeast." Yes, we've done that. Great organisation, fab people and excellent speakers. Anyone who wants to attend, I highly recommend. Your trouble is about 300 or 400 miles from where I live.
You've got to move up to Jarrow.
Yeah, that's an idea, yeah.
Move to Jarrow.
What's this? Chevrons are a cube.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sure Stephen knows all about the cube, the symbology behind it. The black cube of Saturn.
Yeah. And look at this one. Snow said the Lancaster, that's the Lancaster bomber plane, dropping loads of poppies, look like a shower of blood. Yes.
That's exactly why they use the poppies. You'll notice Windsor Castle a few years back, the Queen was walking through a field of poppies which was spilling out of the castle. Essentially, that's why they chose it. It's the fields of blood, the blood sacrifice. That's why they walk on the red carpet.
Ah, now this is interesting. I've had to flip a few because we're up to sort of time, but this is so interesting. I want to go on. Snarnook says, "We never seem to hear about Prince Edward in the news. Is it because he is the Freemason Grand Master?" I think Duke of Kent used to be, didn't he? Yes. And Orange Lodge. That's interesting. And hang on, Cinnamon and Nutmeg said, "Aren't the White Hats Trump and Jesus coming to save us?" Okay. We say, I 100% agree here. Cinnamon and Nutmeg say, "We save ourselves by going within." That's very true. We do.
Yeah, exactly. That's what to be Christed means.
That's right.
That's what we all need to be. We need to be like Christ and become the Christ.
I remember Rimmer's exaggerated salute from the Red Dwarf series. No, I don't remember that. I had an orange van with the word orange on the side outside my flat. Well, did you know Orange, the telephone people, which was owned by Hutchinson's, that had changed their name in Northern Ireland because was it the future is bright, the future is orange.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
could have got away with it there. And now what were we? Ambulances around the world all have the serpent and the scepter. That's true.
Yeah, the rod of Asclepius. Yeah, I mean it's all massively symbolic, and you know that's why they're snake oil salesmen, because it's snake medicine.
I agree with you. I think that well, quite honestly, it's a I shouldn't say it's a sick joke, really. It's I better not say any more on here because it's YouTube.
Yeah.
I reckon they're sort of warming up the alarms there. Right, cinnamon and nutmeg. So great talk, guys. Thank you, and it's very nice to
Yes.
in chat. Thank you very much. Join us again. We're very friendly, and I believe that you're on. When is it now? You're on
October the 6th.
Yes,
Is that right?
that's right. Title pending. So we think a title up, won't we? So I've all Steve,
Yeah.
and then
What do you want to talk about next time then?
Well, we leave it out to the
viewers.
To the viewers, eh? So, what about we could sort of survival hacks or something like that? Although this, we'll think it through. We'll have a chat over the phone.
Yeah, I mean, if people are happy to hear about occult, numerology, and all of how this symbolism works, I'm quite happy to talk more on that. Or if you want to talk about survival stuff,
and on
I can mention that as well.
Oh, that's right. We could do a mixture, couldn't we?
Yeah, mixture. Spiritual survival. That's what we could do.
Oh, that's a good. Hang on, I'll write that one down. Hang on, that's a good one. I'll just write this down.
Well, could that be the title for next week's show? Spiritual survival.
Yeah.
Or Halloween haunts, Louise is saying. I could do
Halloween haunts.
Yeah, Halloween haunts.
Now that's a good one. What one do you fancy? Spiritual survival or Halloween haunts?
Well, should we do Halloween haunts? It's kind of topical, I guess.
Do that one, yes. So, and I put.
And if you like, I'll put some more meat on the bones of Halloween rituals, Halloween mythology, and some of the events that have taken place. Not necessarily horrific things, but I'll talk about how the dark occultists of this world use Halloween as a vessel for their infernal philosophy.
And talk about natural law, Steve. That's what she's got. And
all
also,
right, yeah.
You're on the next week because that was the monthly show that we do with Paul, Patrick, and everybody. Do you remember that one we did? We're going to do it every month.
Yeah.
So you're okay. You're up for the 13th because I'm nipping over to see Bowler Hat Farmer. He's going to have a barbecue there, and it finishes at 3. It's about 2 hours drive, so I should get back in time.
Okay, yeah, I'll be around for that, the 13th.
And on the 14th, it's out there with Deb Singleton. See, this is it. And if you want the update of the schedule, it comes out on Telegram, so you can see it on Telegram. And are we going to be doing about electroculture, where you grow plants using electricity?
Yeah.
So there we are. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us tonight. And it's been a great evening. It's been a real good one. And If you're watching this on BitChute, it was last night. Right, I'm just trying to find Deb's. Here it is. It's a new. What's that? I'm sorry for any of the in the chat room, any of the comments that I haven't read out. Please don't take it personally, or you could do if you want, but yeah, I wouldn't because I can't. I'll be here after night reading them out.
There was some interesting comments, by the way. It was nice to read some of them. So I've read them all. So there's some great comments. Yeah. CERN as well mentioned. The black eye, somebody's mentioned as well. The black cube of Saturn.
Yes. Red shoes. Red shoes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know what? I know you probably want to cut an end to the chat this evening, but somebody mentioned about if I can just backtrack. Right. It was something about the art of war is to fund both sides. Yeah, I mean this is what the world needs to know. This is what war is all about. It's to fund the bankers.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
wars are fought by forgotten heroes for lost causes.
Yeah. I mean, it took me quite a lot of years in the army to realize that, but you know, I can absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, testify to that. This is what the world needs to start knowing and putting out there, that it's all a complete hoax.
And says, well, the Queen, Rockefeller, and various celebrities have been seen with a massive black eye. We could actually supply them with a black eye, couldn't we? I think I'd rather enjoy that.
Gosh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it says CERN as well. Yes, that's opening up portals. So that's.
Here's a quick number. CERN, the front door of CERN is 6.66 miles exactly from the World Economic Forum in Geneva. 6.66 miles. That about sums it all up.
And I do hope everybody will be practicing the Fockham salute for next week. And you got to get the foot at a 45-degree angle inwards, haven't you? It's just, Chris, you're welcome to come up and do a talk at our centre. You want to frighten the people away, do you?
You've got to do the Jarrow March on the way back.
You don't mind smut, do you? And fart jokes and things like that. Because I can't say fart jokes down here because it's the South. They get a little bit touchy about that.
Cinnamon runs something called an EE Centre, an Energy Enhancement Centre in the Northeast, and there's very few of them in the country. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but that's what she runs.
Really?
Yeah. So shout out for EE Centres.
EE Centres.
Yeah. They uses scalar wave technology.
That's interesting because we've got here, was it the military industrial complex? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And Heredus salutes you. So he says, I salute you. So, so
is it like this?
Yeah. Buy some fuckable saucy seaside postcards, folks. Support the show. We've got the fuckable currency, haven't we? So it's funny when I go out to people, I say, do you want some money? And they'll go, oh, goody, I'll give you money away today.
Yeah.
Give her the fuckum note. And you see that sort of expression go, oh.
I like Snorlock's comment there about Switzerland. I mean, bang on the money there. And the money is of course, that's exactly behind it. That's where the banks are, the Swiss banks. That's where they fund all the wars from.
Well, did you know that during World War II, the British banks in Switzerland, the staff went on walking trips with the German banks, staff of the German banks?
That sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah. And also in Southern Ireland, because what happened is, by the way, thank you, Patrick, for helping to promote the Fockham Hall saucy postcards.
Yeah.
But apparently in Southern Ireland, where planes would go off course and things like that, people were interned. And there was just one piece of rope between the English and the German internment camp. and they decided that these poor sods are in this camp. They should have a break. So they went down to the races, and the Germans and the British went together. Good friends, because they're all betting on the horses. And they read a lot of the British and German. A lot of the Germans learned English. And it's quite a good time in Ireland, I think. Yeah, I think that'd be quite a nice place to be interned, really. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. We've gone way over time, about half an hour. Oh, it doesn't matter, does it? And thanks to Deb for this outro. She supplied it, and she'll be on the 14th of October. So you'll be joining me next, hopefully. But we're going to have a show next Sunday is the next show. And of course, I'm also on the Paul English show every Thursday. If you look up Rumble Paul English Live, I'm often the guest. Well, not guest, but I go on there with some smut and more fart jokes. So there we go. And so thank you very much for joining us tonight, Steve. Much appreciated.
You're very welcome. Awesome. Thanks to all in chat as well. Brilliant talking to you guys. Right.
And remember, whatever happens, have a bloody good laugh and good night.